Good evening everyone and welcome to the Sporting Memories quiz. This is the answers one, more exciting isn't it? So we started off last night with the questions on the decade of the noughties, the 2000s, and I'm going to run through the questions like I usually do, and then we'll give you the answers and a little bit of background where we can as well. So number one, it went like this. Who finished as top scorer in the top flight, that's football, 4 times during the noughties? Who finished top scorer in the top flight 4 times in the noughties? And the answer we were looking for was Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry, playing of course for the Arsenal. He topped the list in 2002, 2004, 2005 and 2006. He was pretty prolific, wasn't he? And if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll remember that he played there from 1999 to 2007. At least 250 appearances, 174 goals, amazing strike rate. And of course for the French national side, he was a World Cup winner in 1998 and a Euro Cup winner in 2000. So a highly successful player. Thierry Henry is your number one. Well done if you got that. Number two. In 2008, a 23-year-old Lewis Hamilton became the youngest driver to win the world title. Whose record did he break? Now, it wasn't actually that far back in time, because you'll find that the answer was Fernando Alonso, who set the record just 3 years previously in 2005 when he was 24 years of age. So it broke again pretty quickly when Lewis won it in 2008, and of course Alonso with his 2 wins in 05 and 06 for Renault. A very successful driver as well, but obviously at the minute Lewis is running away with it, isn't he? Setting more and more records. So the answer there, Fernando Alonso for number 2. Number 3, which side has won the most Six Nations titles in the noughties? So unfortunately it wasn't England, and nor was it Wales, but it was, that's right, it was France. France took 4 titles, 02, 04, 06 and 07. England came out with 3. It's 2000, 2001, 2003. And Wales took 2 titles, 05 and 08. And of course, that was the time when England were gearing up, weren't they, to take the World Cup in 2003. So they're really the height of their powers then, weren't they? So number 3, the answer was France with 4 titles. Number 4, in how many test matches did Kevin Peterson lead England during his brief spell there as captain? Well, he only led England for 3. Yeah, it was 3 test matches. So he was captain from August the 4th, 2008 till January the 7th, 2009. He resigned after 3 tests and 9 one-day internationals following a dispute with one of the England coaches. There was a lot to it. I don't quite understand all the ins and outs, but he didn't have a very long spell as captain. Great player, of course. And so well done if you got that one. That's quite a hard one. Number 5, which non-ranking tournament did the late Paul Hunter win 3 times in the noughties prior to his premature death? So obviously this is snooker we're talking about. Those of you who are into the snooker scene will remember Paul Hunter, great player. And the tournament is the Masters. So Paul Hunter won the Masters in the noughties in 2001, 2002, 2004. So the Masters was formed in 1975. It's the second longest running snooker event after the World Championships. it's an invitational event. And of course, remembering how good Paul was as a player, we do now have one of the events known as the Paul Hunter Classic. I think it used to be the German Open. Yeah, but that's still ongoing. So it's great how Paul's name has now been linked to one of the tournaments. And of course, Paul died very young. I think he was 27. I think it was a brain tumour, wasn't it? So very sad. Such a great player, such a lot of promise. And of course, he fulfilled a lot of that promise as well, winning the Masters 3 times. Number 6. Which British driver won the World Rally Championship in 2001 despite winning just one of the season's 14 rallies? Well, the answer for this one, the name we were looking for, was Richard Burns of Subaru. Richard Burns beating Colin McRae and Tony McKinnon. They had both won 3 rallies each, but Burns' better consistency and crucial third place in the final rally of the season saw him leapfrog both of his rivals to take the title. Now, it's a bit of a sad story with Richard Burns, isn't it? Because he passed away in 2005, aged just 34. I think it was cancer as well. So that's very sad. But again, he did fulfill a lot of his potential there with a wonderful rally championship title. So if you've got Richard Burns, well done. You're obviously into your rally driving. And pat on the back for you. Number 7. So you golf fans, get ready for this one. In golf, no British player won a major during the 2000s, the noughties. But which 2 British players have collected second place finishes in the game's top events during the decade? So we were looking for you to find 2 names of British players who came second in a golfing major. And the first name I've got is Colin Montgomerie. Well done if you got that. And the second name I've got is Ian Poulter. Well done if you got Ian. So Colin got second in 2005 Open and also in the 2006 US Open. So very consistent. And Ian Poulter got second at the 2008 Open Championship. Now, not to forget, of course, Lee Westwood, who was third or joint third at 3 of the last 7 majors. So, well done. So the answers were Colin Montgomerie and Ian Poulter. So well done if you got those. That was quite a hard question. Number 8. In which winter sports event did Germany's women go unbeaten in all competitions for almost the entire decade before finally getting defeated in February 2009? And the sporting event it's the luge, yeah? And the record streak was broken when the USA rider Erin Hamlin won a shock world championship at Lake Placid in the USA. Now the luge is the one you go down feet first and you control it with your calf muscles. Yeah, you might remember that one. Looks quite hair-raising, doesn't it, that one? I don't know if I want to go down feet first or head first. So the luge, not to be confused with the skeleton. The skeleton's the one where you go down head first. You don't get quite as much speed because, of course, if you're going head first, it's not quite as aerodynamic, is it? So number 8, we were looking for the luge. So well done on that one. Number 9, this is quite a difficult one. Lance Armstrong's 7 consecutive Tour de France victories, 99 to 05, dominated the first half of the decade before it was obviously stripped for doping. But who took over from Lance as Tour winner in 2006? Now, originally, it was Floyd Landis, if you can remember that far back. Unfortunately, Floyd was also stripped of his title for doping offences. And it was won, in fact, by Oscar Pereiro. Do you remember that? Oscar Pereiro, the Spanish rider. So after Floyd was stripped, Oscar Pereiro was second on the podium. He moved up to first, and he is now allocated as Tour de France champion. So, bit of a shame to win it that way, but that's how it was. And of course, remembering Floyd, he rode for the Phonak team, I think it was. And going further back to the US Postal days, he was one of Lance's teammates on US Postal. And he was one of the ones who blew the whistle on Lance as well, wasn't he? With other people such as Tyler Hamilton as well. So number 9 was Oscar Pereiro. Number 10. In which year did Paula Radcliffe establish her women's marathon world record, and also where did she do that? Well, first of all, it was at the London Marathon, and the year, it's going back a bit now, 2003. Yeah, and her record, if you're interested, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 25 seconds, which is absolutely phenomenal. 2 hours, 15 minutes, 25 seconds. So Paula, successful athlete, of course, winning silver medal at the Worlds in 99 in the 10,000 and winning gold in the 2005 Worlds Marathon. So amazing there. And at the Olympic Games, she competed in the 5,000, the 10,000 and marathon. Didn't gain medals, but, you know, hats off to some great performances. So well done if you got that. Number 11. There's only been one undisputed heavyweight boxing champion in the 2000s. He held the undisputed title for just 4 of the decade's 120 months. Who was he? I'm sure you've got this one. And we were looking for, that's right, Lennox Lewis. He became undisputed champion after beating Evander Holyfield in November 1999. But unfortunately, he was stripped of his WBA title in April 2000 over contract disputes. So there's no longer the title of undisputed champion, because obviously the belts and the different boxing areas were brought together, weren't they? So it's no longer undisputed. So Lennox, of course, does get that nice accolade of being the last one. So that was Lennox Lewis. Number 12, Michael Jordan's career seemed over at the end of the 1990s, but he made a surprise return to the NBA in 2001. Which team did he play for when he came back? Now, Michael Jordan, as you'll remember, retired a number of times, didn't he? And came back each time. He retired back in 1993, and off he went to play another sport professionally. Do you know what that was? Not basketball, it was baseball. He moved from basketball to baseball. Didn't really do anything wonderful. Played for some lower teams. Came back in 94, played a bit longer, retired again. And then when he finally came back, he played with the Washington Wizards for 2001 to 2003. So the answer is the Washington Wizards is the team he played for. Number 13. Which now legendary racehorse became, in 2009, the first horse for 20 years to win the Derby and the 2000 Guineas in the same season? So we were looking for the horse called See the Stars. See as in blue sea. See the Stars, who is an Irish thoroughbred racehorse, regarded by many as one of the greatest racehorses of all time. So definitely one to have a bet on when he was racing, that is. So See the Stars was number 13. Number 14, football. Only one side has unfortunately managed to get relegated from the Premier League 3 times during the noughties. Who is that team? Well, if you're a follower of the Baggies, West Bromwich Albion, you'll know that they dropped out of the Premier League in 03, 06 and 09. But they have had some successful times since then. And so West Bromwich Albion were the team we were looking for number 14. Number 15 falls on some Formula 1. See if you can get this one. Jenson Button won his first Formula 1 race at the 2006 Hungarian Grand Prix. Who was the last British driver before him to win a Grand Prix race? That's quite a hard question, but I know you Formula 1 fans will get it. Who did you come up with? Well, the answer for this one is David Coulthard. That's right. And do you know the race? 2003, the Australian Grand Prix. Now, if you did that without Google, very well done. Jenson Button, of course, winning one Drivers' World Championship in the year 2009. So well done if you got that as well. So David Coulthard, 2003 Australian Grand Prix for number 15. So I hope you've enjoyed that little journey through the noughties. Sorry if I haven't touched on your sport or we've missed out your sporting highlight of the noughties. There was quite a good spread of questions there, so I hope it's given you a few nostalgic memories, and it's probably got you itching to go onto YouTube now and to watch some of these clips, or maybe to check I've got them right. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and next time we'll be getting even more recent when we look at the 2010s. So until then, bye bye for now.